So today's video is a little bit different. I'm just going to be sitting here and talking to you about what is the best kettlebell to buy to help you make an informed decision, because I know when you try something for the first time, it can be super scary and you almost want to be prepared and do a little research before you go into it. It's the same thing as if I was going to start snowboarding. I would honestly have no idea what clothing I need, what board I need. I'm gonna have to learn these things because I moved to Colorado recently. But luckily, I'm gonna have knowledgeable friends to tell me this stuff, and that is exactly why I'm making this video, so that you can decide what your first kettlebell is going to be. Now, there's a few things that we're gonna go over today, and I'll let you know in which situation it might apply to you. So the first thing that you need to know about a kettlebell is that type of motions that you're going to be doing. So you have arm motions, right? Upper body motions like an overhead press. And this jacket is definitely swaggy, but limiting my mobility. That overhead press is probably gonna be lighter than the bell that you can squat or you can swing. So the first thing that I would recommend is getting one bell that you can press overhead, and if possible, one bell that you can swing and squat with. So a lower body movement bell and an upper body movement bell. That is the first way that you could possibly go, because what's gonna happen is that upper body bell is gonna be a little bit too light for things like your swing and your squat. And honestly, if you're just starting out, you can do 10 reps of the overhead press on the right side and 8 to 10 reps of that overhead press on the left side. You don't necessarily need to start off with double bells immediately. Honestly, a lot of people learn the movements like the kettlebell clean and the overhead press as a single arm movement first, and then later on when they're ready for a little bit more of a core challenge and a little bit more advanced conditioning, they go into double bells. So that would be the first thing. Figure out what those are for you. So for example, if you've only been pressing 5-pound weights overhead, I'm gonna try to encourage you to go a little bit heavier than that. Let's say that your buffer zone is around, you always grab the 10-pound. See if you can level up just by one bell for those overhead presses. And the biggest thing I'm always gonna say is if you have a sporting goods store around you and you can go in and test out those bells, that's probably not the bell you wanna buy because of the shape, the style, the material of the bell, and the durability of it. But it's definitely gonna really, really help in terms of making sure that you can overhead press that bell with confidence, because you are stronger than you think you are. And then that lower body bell, I can't give a range because it's really going to be about where you're currently at in your fitness. However, something heavier, I would imagine, I kind of started myself off pressing overhead with the 25-pound bell, and then I went on and I did a lot of my lower body work with a 35-pound bell, and I definitely could have gone heavier with my lower body bell. However, I was just a little bit afraid when I first started out about the power of the kettlebell swing and hurting my back. And now that I'm a little better educated, I know that I would have gotten more bang for my buck had that bell been a little heavier. But when you first start out, you always want to err on the side of a little bit lower weight, because it doesn't even matter. You just need to get those mechanics down with body weight and then with a light bell before you go ahead and jump to the heaviest bell. So that's the first route that you can go. The second route that you could go is getting 2 matching bells or a set. So think about it this way. If I have one 25-pound bell that I can overhead press, and then I add another 25-pound bell, that is now 50 pounds that I can double racked squat with. If I squat with those 2 bells, it's gonna be pretty heavy and extremely challenging, because when I just got my one bell for the heavy bell, I was holding it, right, as I was squatting in a goblet style. But now that I have 2 bells that I'm holding, all of a sudden the stability, the core stabilizers, everything's working a little bit more. And then you can also do double bell work. So you could get into double kettlebell swings, double kettlebell cleans, double kettlebell overhead presses. And I really found that when I'm doing single bell work, I can swing a 25 without any problem. But when I was first starting out, I was doing double kettlebell work because it takes so much more coordination. I had to drop down to those like 18-pound bells or something a little bit less. So those are your two options, one light and one heavy. You're going to be doing a little bit more unilateral work, but you're probably going to get really, really good at those single arm movements like the clean and the swings and the snatches. Or you can go for a matching set and a pair of bells so that you can do a little bit more explosive conditioning work with two bells. And in the long run, if that's something that you're looking for to get really good with the double kettlebells, it is going to be a tough road, but it's going to be highly worth it. It's a great workout. Now, if you have an opportunity to buy all three bells, then get a matching set or pair and get one super heavy bell for like your deadlifts and your other things. That is assuming that kettlebells are your primary form of lifting at home. If you can only get one bell, I definitely say get the bell you can press overhead because you will be comfortable doing all of the things with it, and you can just up your reps for some of those more movements that might need something a little heavier. So go longer for those kettlebell swings or for those deadlifts, or find a variation that's going to be more challenging for you, like a staggered stance deadlift or single leg deadlift, something like that. So there's definitely ways that you can use that one lighter bell and still get a massive amount of workout. I think I've rambled about those two options enough. So just some things to note when you're buying bells. I have my little notebook here. It's going to be, they're in kilograms, and I'm in the United States. We use pounds. So almost every website that you go on will have conversions, but if the weight is weird, like 8 kilograms is 17.6 pounds, then that's why, because they are traditionally, a big source, so they say, is from Russia, right? And I know it dates back further than that, but that's who brought it over for us. So I see a lot of the women that I coach start with either the 8 kilograms or the 12 kilograms. So they either go for that 17.6 pounds or that 26.2 pounds. I do want to let you know that select sites do have that 10 kilogram or that 22 pounds that's like right in the middle. So if you really search for it, those like mid sizes are out there, and they might help you get just like a little bit more strength work in there. So that's one thing to note when you're looking at them. That's why they're funky numbers. The other thing is that the kettlebells, when you're swinging and you're moving them, you really want that nice shape of the handle, as well as to not be slippery. So some, like this guy in the middle, you can tell is super shiny and glossy, and the sweatier your palms get, the more that this guy is actually gonna slip around. I think this was an Amazon Basics purchase. And that was kind of a mistake in my earlier days, and now I really only buy powdered coated kettlebells. You can see that there's more of a matte finish. They are a little bit, they're very smooth still, but it is definitely not as slippery as this is. My hands are barely sweating and that thing's already slipping. So powdered coat is what they call it, at least on the Rogue Fitness site. Where to get your kettlebells? So again, the main thing is that it has a nice handle shape and ball shape, because what's going to happen is that ball of the kettlebell is going to sit on your forearm. So a lot of people ask me about the adjustable kettlebells, and I cannot speak from experience because I don't have one. A lot of my clients actually do have them. However, I wouldn't like highly recommend them. They're just a slightly different shape than the actual ball of the kettlebell for when it's sitting on your forearm. But anybody that has used them like in excess and also loves kettlebells, please comment and share your personal experiences in the comments. I think that'd be really helpful. And yeah, so that shape is important. And sometimes when manufacturers, let's say like some random company on Amazon, doesn't really understand kettlebells and just sees that the market has been saturated and that people have been buying these bells and that they're selling out fast, especially during 2020, then they might be oddly shaped bells. And that's not gonna help your form, because it's gonna cause wrist bangs and then you're gonna get super frustrated. So some more reputable companies to buy from would be Rogue Fitness. They're huge for producing kettlebell equipment as well as all other equipment. I have a squat rack from them and a variety of bells. Kettlebell Kings, that's gonna be on the higher end in the price. They do say that, they put a lot of love and care into their bells, and there's reasons why that price is higher. So You could probably test both out and see which one feels better for you personally. Like I said, I did get one on Amazon Basics. It's not my favorite, but it does do the job if it wasn't shiny, and I'm sure they have those that aren't shiny. Rep Fitness, if you're on the West Coast, REP Fitness sells great equipment as well, and it's a little bit cheaper than Rogue. And last but not least, I have to give a shout out to Perform Better. Although the shipping costs kill me sometimes, their handles are a little bit smaller and give you a little bit more room to maneuver around. And I did say that you do want a very standardized handle, but in this case, it's actually a lot better. I think it's improved. And so they feel amazing, and I got recommended them actually by a fellow coach that I used to work with, and I love them. Don't know what I'm going to do for my home gym if I'm going to go with Rep Fitness because of the price and because I use them in a lot of fitness studios that I coach at or that I go to. And so it'd be nice to keep that consistency, or if I'll build the gym out with Perform Better bells. They also make great mini bands, by the way. So those are definitely some of your considerations when you're first starting to choose a kettlebell. Buy one bell that you can press overhead if you're getting one. If you're buying two, you can either get one light and one heavy for your lower body movements, or you can get two light ones and use double bells. And if you can get three, then just combine those two options and you're good to go. I think that covers most everything. Please let me know if there is a question that I didn't cover, because you know my brain lives in this every day, and sometimes you can't see what's plainly in front of you, or you can't remember what it was like when you're first starting out. But I want to be here as a resource for you and to answer all of your questions and make sure that you have the right kettlebell when you're getting started so that you can feel empowered to get going with it. All right, later team. It was nice sitting down and chatting with you.